everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Big Joel Show. More exciting guests for you. And today I've got Yony in the studio with me. And Yony is an extremely successful real estate agent in the D.C. metro area. We are live in the studio, and I'm going to be talking to Yony today about lots of things, but he's got a pretty incredible business built up. He's been in the business really, I'm going to say only 8.5 years, but that's like an OG now. That's old. Yeah. That's old, but 8.5 years. Before that, worked for a Department of Education. Before that was a D3 basketball coach, which I think is very interesting as well. And actually, that whole coaching thing that's big in your wiring for what you're doing too. So just some quick stats real fast. Yony works for Keller Williams in Tyson's Corner in Virginia, which for those of you that don't know is really DC Metro. And 2016 sold about 55 units. 2017 68 units. 2018 right on the way to 80 units if we extrapolate. I know it's the end of October right now. So, I love to see that when I talk to people and when I'm talking to clients or whatever, see that business continuing to go up. And actually, I love seeing it go up in a controlled way like that. Nothing crazy, because then it just continues to grow and grow and grow. So, Yony, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Tell us just a little bit about you, as a person. And I just want to ask you some questions. I know you're really good with social media. Yeah. I know that you're a referral-based agent, and I want everyone to hear this. I want you to hear this loud and clear. Okay, 8.5 years in the business. And he's able to look at me and go, hey, I'm really a referral-based guy. And so for those of you, people say this to me all the time when I meet them, well, I can't, I have to do lead gen because, I don't know anyone I'm going to call you on that one. I don't necessarily think that's true. If got a guy sitting here selling this much real estate who is pretty much, we'll call it 90% referral-based, 80% of my safe.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Then you can do the same thing. So tell me a little bit tell everybody a little bit about you, and then let's get into it.
Yeah. So quickly, we were just talking before this started. So I got Ethiopian American. Got to the States in Arlington, Virginia, and when I was 5 years old, and lived in Arlington, Alexandria, Woodbridge, pretty much in that area. And for the most part, I'm assuming this is a national show, obviously, like you mentioned. So the D.C. metro area, or we call it the DMV, right? The DMV, D.C., Maryland, Virginia, okay? Not the Department of Motor Vehicles. But
not to be confused with.
Not to be confused with that. Yeah. So done that. Like I said, after college, I played college basketball and gravitated towards that coaching field. And I went there, did that for about 2-3 years, loved it. And kind of got burnt out with that, so moved back to the D.C. area where started working for the Department of Education, sitting in the cubicle, as I tell people, slowly dying.
Dilbert.
Right?
Dilbert. Yeah.
So then, I was always interested in real estate and got my license. And then once I got my license, I just went and gave my 2 weeks, and I was out. And I used to sit in front of my mentor, or not in front, inside my mentor's office, and just try to soak everything in. And that's kind of how we started. So that's where I'm at now. So
tell us a little bit about your business. You're selling a lot of real estate. I think the average agent from NAR, I think, sells like either 4.3 or 4.7 houses a year, something like that. You're clearly selling, 6 houses a month or 7 houses a month or whatever units. You're way not average. You're way beyond it. By the way, I don't even care about the volume, because the volume is where you live. It is what it is.
Exactly.
I care about the units. The units are off the chart. The units also give you lots of happy clients. And if you're referral based, that's what helps it grow. But tell us a little bit about your business philosophy, how you're running your business. You're a young guy as agents go. You're 34. The average age of real estate agents is 57 plus right now, if you can believe that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. You're almost what's the millennial cutoff? I mean, you're almost there, right? You're almost there. Yeah. So tell us a little about this.
So in terms of how I run my business, it's all relationship building. And I heard a stat like maybe 4 or 5 years ago that just totally turned it around. The average person knows 4 to 6 people a year that either buy or sell a home. So if I, the sphere that I have, it doesn't matter if I have 100 people and I can utilize and get the most out of those people, that's a great business to have. And so
that's 400 referrals if you're using your math.
Exactly.
Right?
So it is just it's relationship building, and with social media, it's more so building value and making sure those people that follow us know that we're just not agents, but we're here to give them value and expertise in whatever they're looking for. And so when they have that thought of buying or selling, they're going to think of us. They're going to associate us and myself with real estate. So when my goal with social media, when they think of me, they think of real estate. When they think of real estate, they think of me, and that's how I kind of built it up. And then with the referrals,
branded, in
just
that way.
keep branding, and consistency is so key.
And you don't brand your name. You brand your DMV Realty.
team, your DMV team, and I don't and brokerage. That's brokerage is one thing, but that's not who you are.
No, we're not talking about that today.
Yeah.
I tell people all the time. I mean, yes, there's a master broker. It's just like a lender. There's a master, but you're running Yony Inc. on their platform.
Exactly, and that's what I mean. So like, I have nothing to do with the broker except that I'm just under that. They're like the umbrella, but your DMV team is what I want people to know, because that's my company. That's who I am, and that's the branding. It's got to be you.
So tell me what pieces people always ask agents that sell a lot of houses. They get into, you all here, you guys have so much training and so many people in front of you telling, there's some guys that are like literally will tell you to delegate eating dinner, like have someone to eat for you.
Yeah.
I mean, literally like the crazy stuff. And when I get into it with agents and they hire me to do one-on-one stuff with them, and I really start looking at what they're delegating, it's not uncommon where I'll say, hey, who told you to delegate that?
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, and I'll say, yeah, we need to take that back because you just delegated a core activity.
Yeah.
They got you where you are. You don't want to be delegating that one.
Yeah.
There's plenty of other things to delegate. So take me through the process. If I'm a buyer and I get engaged with your DMV team, what's it going to be like for me? What's the buyer experience? Because it sounds like that's very important to you.
Yeah, no, it's definitely, and a majority of our business is buyers, and a lot of first-time home buyers.
So tell me about it. Tell everybody. How they getting to you? First of all, how did you get the referral for most of them? How did it get to you?
So initially, it's whether it be through phone calls that I've made, through my sphere of people that we've sold and that we've helped, that we do first time home buyer seminars.
So you do,
yeah.
So take a minute. Lots of people do that. That's a sexy word.
Yeah.
First-time home buyer seminar. I'll give you my opinion on it in a second. But tell me how you do it. How does Yony do first-time home buyer seminars?
In terms of like the process itself?
Go through it, man. How do you get the butts in the seats? How do you get them in the room? How many people do you normally have?
Hey.
How often do you do them?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Good. Yeah. And it evolved. When I first started,
snowball going down a hill, right?
When I first started, and people, agents now,
3 people in the room, right?
Yeah, 3, sometimes 2, sometimes none.
Right.
My vendors would be there. We would eat the food and go home, and so I kept doing it. And for the majority times, all I did in terms of marketing was through social media. And we used to just boost the social media pages.
To get the butts in the seats.
Yes,
you would pay to boost to a demographic, a zip code. What were you doing? Tell
demographic,
everyone.
And then also my sphere. So there's an option in Facebook business page where it says, either areas demographically or people that like your page and their friends.
What's the cost on that ballpark?
So each time, and I'll tell you, we do
$20, $30. What do you spend?
I spend. So I typically do it at least 3 weeks out in terms of I spend, and it's grown. I started out with about 50. And now I spend about 150 or so.
Okay, yeah. So go back to the beginning, because there's a lot of people that don't do it, or they do it wrong, or they're not doing it right. And what I find with
they stop doing it after a month. Exactly.
They stop.
Exactly.
And it's right when they're getting. So tell us about it. Is it monthly? Walk everybody through.
So this year is when we initially just kind of took it up. So before we used to do maybe 3 or 4. This year we'll do 8 total. Our last one is going to be in November. So 8, and that happens.
Same location every time?
Because it's logistically easier right now, we do. But because we service all 3 jurisdictions, we want to look at other locations as well. But now, same location.
So for now, I want everyone to hear this. consistency with home buyer seminars, which is like a sexy thing that all agents try to do or think they're going to do. I'm letting you know, my first home buyer seminar I did, I think, I don't want to age myself, but I think it was like 1991 when I was 10, by the way. But and what I learned, really quickly was it's all about consistency, because you're flashing it, and sometimes it might take 9 times to get in their brain to show up. And if you're moving the location around on them, and you're moving the day and you're moving the time, it's like you take one step back every time.
I hear you. Yeah, okay, that's good feedback. We always do it on a Saturday. That the time doesn't change. The day and time doesn't change. It's always Saturday, 11:15 to about 1:30 or so, 1 o'clock, whatever it may be.
Go through the structure. So we know that your butts and seats is clearly, specifically your sphere, which is whatever in your CRM, your database, or whatever it is. Yeah. Plus, you are boosting on Facebook to zip code and your friends and people you're connected with.
So there's two. Yeah, I create there's an event that you can create.
Yeah.
And then I may boost that to, and I can switch this off here and there. I can boost that to maybe my sphere and their friends. And then there's another like actual post that I can make, and then I can boost that and just try it out with the zip codes in the areas. So I can
play with it and see what kind of.
Exactly. And you mentioned even the way I looked at it is, even if I didn't get anybody in the door and for the initially, it's twofold for me, especially with social media. First, when you actually say that you're doing a seminar, it gives the value to those people that you are an expert in the
subject matter expert.
You are, hey, he's doing this. It doesn't matter so that's one fold. Second fold is obviously the people that come there, and then the people that we can kind of attract. But there's always twofold. So even when I first did it, even if I didn't get any people in the seats, I didn't say it was a failure. And you have to do it consistently. And like I said, there's agents now that tell me, man, so we average right now 35 people, 40 each seminar. Okay, you always have, it's always sold out. We leave at least 50, it's a 55 space seminar, and it typically sells out. But that's anything in life. Some people
show up.
Yeah, exactly. So we average 30 people, but agents will tell me, like how are you getting these people in the door? But I tell them it's consistency. The first times I tried it, I could barely get anybody in there, but I kept doing it. Kept doing it.
You can't give up. I mean, one of the biggest challenges with all salespeople, especially with real estate agents, and loan officers, is they're so impatient and they're just looking for a shiny object. And let's face it, Yony, people constantly are selling products to the real estate industry they're just selling some pipe dream. By the way, you don't have to do anything. If you pay me $700 for this, you're suddenly going to sell 30 houses a year, which, by the way, let me just put it out there, it's BS. And this is a great message right now. I know this may sound like, these guys are just talking about homebuyer seminars. Who cares? This is a huge message. Yony said it like 3 times. Consistency. He is now getting, when did you do your first one? How long ago?
4 years ago.
That's so huge right there.
Yeah.
So 4 years ago, 4 years, people, 4. Now he's consistently has 35. I'm taking his low number, okay? 35 people at each homebuyer seminar he does. 35 people. But he did his first one 4 years ago. And I think he's probably being nice right now. He probably ate a lot of food and drank a lot of stuff on his own with nobody showing up.
Oh, for sure.
But he kept doing it. And I guarantee you, if you keep doing it, it works. It always works. So go through the structure real quick, because this is a cool thing that people like to talk about. So when you say vendors, who do you normally have in the room with you? Do you have title and lender?
So we have the main obviously is the lender, and then we have the home inspector that pops up as well and talks briefly, and then we have a credit repair resource that comes at the end to kind of talk about, okay, how do I get there? So those are the main 4.
So you said 11:15 to 1. Is that what you said?
11:15 to 1:30ish, yeah. And we provide. So we do it right now. We do it right underneath our brokerage is an Olive Garden. There's a back room there that we have. We provide some food. Costs us $100 or so, $150, and we have that. And we start. We have different segments, and we're done 1:30. And that's
so after the seminar, tell me what happens. You just spent time and energy, 4 years worth of it. To get the 35 butts and seats. What are those people registering Do they have to sign in? Do you friend them on Facebook after? Do you, let's walk through, because this is the money right now. This is what nobody does.
Yeah. So follow-up is key, right?
So let's hear about it.
So they do register. We use Eventbrite to register, so their name and email is automatically in there.
So if they show up, is there somebody there checking them in?
Yep.
And if they're not registered, they're registering on the spot,
Yep,
correct?
they're putting their
even
name,
on a phone, like
they're putting
put
their
it in
name,
there.
their email. So one of my agents is there, their name, their email, their phone number.
So you got, their butt is in the seat.
Yep.
You know who they are.
Absolutely.
Okay, so now the event's over.
Yep.
Okay. Is there a call to action in the event actually, or not really?
So we've not necessarily a call to action. We do this incentivized. We offer first-time home buyers a home warranty for those that have attended, and then we take off our admin fee for anybody that typically is has registered and gone through the seminar as well. So what happens too, like the Q&A time after it officially ends, we do or just once everybody finishes talking, we do like a raffle prize where we give out champagne or Wizards tickets, whatever case may be, just something
to get them to stay.
Yeah,
correct?
exactly. And then to be honest, it's just naturally people have more questions, so they're talking to myself, other agents. We're creating relationships right over there. We're setting up appointments there. Our lenders are talking with somebody there. We've had situations where he's approving them right over there. But we stay in touch after. We pretty much follow up, whether they're through text, phone call, email, at least for the next maybe 2 weeks or so in terms of that. And then
pretty aggressively for the next 2 weeks.
Aggressively for at least 2-3 times a week, just to kind of get them in.
Then what happens in your system? How do they get tagged in your system after that? And then how are they touched?
So we put them on a drip campaign via email, and also just consistently just shoot them out that emails that we do, and then text as well. Are you
friending everyone that signs up on Eventbrite on Facebook?
No, we don't.
Is there a call to action to follow you on Instagram?
So on there's a display that we have, a banner that we have with all of our social media outlets, and so we ask them to follow us, and also we ask them for a review if they can, and we shoot out one of the emails that we send out is, hey, if you enjoyed this seminar, can you write us a review on our Facebook business page?
Okay.
Yep.
Okay. And those go on your Facebook business page. Yeah. No LinkedIn, Facebook business page,
Facebook
right?
Business page, yeah.
Okay. All right, great. Okay, good. And tell me, it's interesting. Again, you're talking about being consistent, and agents are like, I got to have it right now. If I didn't get it now, I'm done. What is the typical if you have 35 people, okay, and let's say that there are a lot of couples in there or whatever. Let's say that you have 20 distinctive, call it, potential buyers. Okay. Are 2 of those people buying something in the next 60 days? Is that a good average, or is it more or less?
I would say 3 to 4 of those.
Okay, so 3 to 4. So that's a pretty high number.
Yep.
Okay, that's 20%.
Yeah.
That's high. Then keep breaking it down for people so they can see it. Go to the next 20%. Are they buying within 6 months? What does it typically look like?
I would say 3 to 4 are buying in the next, what do we say?
I said 60, but you could change
60,
that.
90 days or so. Let's just say I would put that group that's going to buy in 6 months. Okay. And the next, I would say 5 people would probably buy in a year and a half or so. We push the seminars that we push, right? We really make it a point to let them know that it's not about you trying to buy right now. This is not what this seminar is about. It's about getting you in a position, even if you're a year, 2 years out, 3 years, I don't care, getting you in there so you can get prepared. So we've had people that showed up maybe 3 years ago that are now buying, but you fill that pipeline. So I would say, 3 to 4 in the next 6 months. I would say maybe another 5 or so in the next year and a half, 2 years.
So I want everyone to make sure that you heard what Yony just said. He said it pretty fast. He talks fast like me. He said, fill that pipeline. Okay, real estate is a long tail business. If you don't understand this, you're looking at your career, your business wrong. Okay. He just said very sage words of advice. Fill that pipeline. That's what this is about. And it's interesting, most of all sales is if you don't ask for the business, you're never going to get the business. It's basically, call 200 people, scream at them, yell at them, drop some kind of crazy script on them. Who do you know who? Can you meet at this time? Do you want me to come over and give you a click, 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 click? What Yony is doing in his first-time buyer seminars or his buyer seminars is he is clearly marketing and promoting the I don't care approach, which is actually my approach. I love it. As in, I don't care if you buy anything today. I'm here to educate you.
Yep.
I'm here to be your source, be a SOI, be a source of information. I'm here to be your guy. I always say this all the time. People argue with me all the time. You can't sell anything to anyone. They buy when they're ready, and you need to be in front of them.
Exactly.
And if you're the person in front of them, you get it. If you have to talk them into it, it's usually going to go bad. It's not going to be pretty if you got to talk them into it.
Well, real estate is one of those things that it's something that's like a rite of passage. It's something that happens to a lot of people. You're not going to convince them to buy a house or not. That's something that they're going to have in their mind. They're going to do eventually. And so we want to get in front of them. And we've had situations where those people that came to our seminar and they've had, once they've bought or they've told their friends, family, their coworkers, hey, this guy, this team, they do these seminars. And they've referred us. And that person doesn't even come to the seminar. They just buy during that time. So it's you're building the brand as well, and you're educating, and you're letting people know that, hey, this is a great place where you can come and just get information and not feel pressured to buy. And so that goes well with people because then they refer us to their friends and family. Say, this is and we always joke, we say, don't feel like you're not going to buy anything today, right? So it just kind of to break that ice in the beginning. So we're just there to educate them when that time does come, and it will come for a majority of people.
We want to be the choice.
We want to be the choice.
So this is a big message, everyone. And I hope you don't think, oh my God, these guys are just spending 15 minutes talking about a new homebuyer seminar. This is great for anyone that sells real estate, but especially for newer people to real estate that are frustrated. They don't want to spend money on lead gen. I mean, they don't want to pay Zillow $2,000 a month. This is a great way to get going that anyone can do, but you have to remember the big P, and that means patience. You have to be patient, and then the big C, consistency. You have to be consistent. I'm not sure where I read this or whatever. I talk about it all the time. I'm probably wrong. There'll probably be someone that'll call me and tell me I'm wrong. But I think it takes 9 times for someone to realize something. Yony's good. Yony's good. Yony's good. Yony's the best. Yony real estate. Yony real estate. Yony real estate. And the 9th time, Yony real estate. Maybe I should call him. So if you think just because you tell them that you're good, you love referrals, you know what you're doing, whatever, one time, and you think that's going to be okay or that's going to work. Yeah, it might work 1 out of 100 times. It's going to be painful, I guarantee it, on that transaction. But you have to understand that this is a billboard. This is a consistent message. And the more consistent you are, the better off you will be filling that room. And for you to be consistently getting 35 people, okay, and I know I don't know, what people are thinking when they hear that, but I've been doing this a long time. Yeah, I've been working with agents for 20 years. I'm telling you right now, if you are getting 35 new butts and seats 8 times a year doing this, and you're hitting your sphere and boosting on Facebook,
absolutely, yeah.
you are hitting grand slams in the World Series. I would challenge anybody to show me their list of who they had in that room that had that many people that consistently. But remember, everybody, he hasn't had 35 people in that room for 4 years. And he said this, and he said it really fast, and I want to say it again so you heard it. Because, by the way, I've been there with agent partners when I was, a loan officer. Many times at the beginning, nobody showed up.
Nobody. Like I said, nobody
showed up.
Maybe one, two, or nobody.
And you're eating the whole tray of food.
I'm telling you,
we're
there, we're talking, and we're just other vendors, my lender, title rep, home inspector. We're there, we eat, and we get out.
But your attitude, it's a great attitude. Yanni's got a great attitude. It probably comes a little bit from sports.
We have to be positive,
it's
right?
From sports. No, it's, hey, this isn't a bad thing. This is a good thing. We're getting going. We're getting it going. We're getting going. All right, so that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that. I'm going to get a lot of feedback from that. So tell me about the social media piece. Tell me what I know you said you work with a lot of first-time home buyers. Would that mean that probably the average age of your buyers is going to be a little younger as well? What would you say the average age of your buyers is?
I would say. So probably average age, and again, it depends obviously, but
ballpark
28 to 35, 36.
So 37. Most of these people have Twitter, they have Instagram, they might be Snapchatting. I don't know. I don't Snapchat. But they probably, they might have been on Facebook and then left Facebook, again, one of those things. Tell me a little bit about that.
So, when I first started social media, and it's grown, and it comes back to what you said, it's consistency. And initially, I wasn't getting any traction, and when you start out, you probably won't get a lot of traction, because keep in mind, this age is informational age. They're getting bombarded with information, and you made a special point. It takes 9 times. You have to be on top of their mind. It's your job to make sure, I talked to you about, my job is when they think of real estate, they think of me. When they think of me, I don't care if they think of me as a person. They just automatically think of me as in terms of real estate. And that was my main thing. And I was consistent. And it was consistent in initially providing value. I'm not on social media saying I'm an agent. Like you mentioned, I'm the best. Not that. We're maybe showing them videos or different video. We do informational videos here and there. We're giving them information about what's happening in the area. So we're providing information that they would find valuable, and they will look at and say, you know what, they're the experts in the area. So just being consistent and providing that content that says that, hey, we're not agents. We're giving you free information. We're here to basically educate you and empower you. And so it was one of those things where, we post our anytime we sell a home with our clients, we take a picture with them, and some people don't want their faces in front of online. So we put an emoji in their face, and it's funny. Yeah. So, but we do that, and so when people see that, they see that, okay, they know what they're doing, they're successful, so they want to be a part of that as well. But it's got to be consistent. It's got to be consistent.
So you can't, to think that you can be successful right now and avoid, I just said this with another guest. I used to say it all the time. I used to teach actually in the 90s when I was 5. I used to teach a class on this where I would say low tech, high touch equals big money. High tech, low touch equals little money.
Yeah.
Now it's high tech, high touch equals big money.
Yeah.
Meaning you have to do both. And there's so many great realtors for the older, more veteran, what I call hardened criminal agents listening to this. The high touch, they're usually better at high touch, actually.
Yeah.
They're usually better at picking up the phone, and they're great at that. But when they add the high tech, man, they just explode.
Yeah.
So if a younger guy like you, who's got the high tech dialed and understands the high touch, like you don't mind being on the phone with somebody, it's game, set, match.
Yeah.
You're going from 80 to 100 to 200. It's not going to stop.
Yeah.
But you can't get away with just one. So those agents listening right now that really haven't embraced technology, and this doesn't mean you have to be the grandmaster of the world at tweeting. It just means that you're there and you're present.
Absolutely.
In a way. I'm going to tell you, I think you have to. You cannot avoid it. You must. Correct? Yeah. There's no way.
No, I agree. And like I said, you can't expect to post one time a day, 2 times a week, and expect anything to come out of that on social media. Keep in mind, the information that comes in front of them, it's so much. You have to stand. You have to be consistent. You have to stay on top of mind, and that you have to be constantly on their feeds, pushing it out there.
So you're 34 years old.
34.
We don't have a lot of time left. Give me your advice. The average age real estate agent right now is 57 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. I personally think about all the time. I think about these kids going to college, maybe not going to college, getting all kinds of student loans, doing all kinds of stuff. And I always tell people, hey, selling real estate is probably the most lucrative career you could ever have, with the exception of maybe some graduate degree stuff. If you're going to law school, or you're going to go to med school or something like that, and even that could be argued.
Absolutely,
that could be argued.
Absolutely.
Okay, but I'm graduating college, or I've been out a little bit. I like talking to people, but I don't know what I'm going to do. What would you tell people? How do I get into real estate? Or if I'm a young realtor in what I call floating in the sea. I meet these people all the time. I'm like, well, do you have anybody you're talking to? No. Do you have, well, what do you do all day? I don't know. Well, what, literally they're just, you know who they are. You've seen them sitting in the office where they're literally, if there's 8 hours they're sitting in there, they're probably being productive for 27 minutes.
Yeah.
And it's not necessarily because they're lazy. They literally just don't know what to do. Give some pearls of wisdom. You're 34 years old. You've been doing this 8.5 years. You're going to sell 80 houses this year, which is massive, by the way. Okay. Again, I don't even care what the volume is. I don't care if your average sale price is 500 or 200 or $1 million. What I care about is 80. That's a lot of happy people.
Absolutely.
Those 80 will get you a lot of referrals, right?
Exactly.
That's the money right there. That's the difference right there. You are a high producing, very successful agent, as far as I'm concerned, and I deal with agents all over the country. What would you tell that person? Give a couple of pearls of wisdom to get it going, to turn it on, to stoke the fire. What would you tell them to do?
First, I think you talk about when somebody gets their license or becomes an agent. We have all these things. A lot of these brokerages, they have these. Hey, you got to do this and this and this and this and this, all these shiny objects and all that. When I use the term lead generate, it doesn't mean you're necessarily have to make cold calls or warm calls or what.
Doesn't mean Zillow.
It doesn't mean that. It means that you are proactively in seeking leads. However you go about your business, whether it be through referrals or whatnot. So first thing first, if you opened up a coffee shop, right, the first thing you would do is tell all your friends and family. The first thing you need to do is write down a list of everybody that you know. Okay, everybody that you know. If you have their number, you call them and you tell them that you're in real estate now, and you ask them, hey, do you have somebody that you can refer to if you had friends or family? If they say no, you tell them, hey, I would love to earn your trust. Can I be that person? And send them your business card. Okay. If you have friends on social media, write them a direct message and say the same thing. Script. You have somebody.
So they definitely need to, though, out of the gate. That list you just talked about, I'm getting granular now. I always tell people a database is any place you have more than 2 names and contact info. It could be written on your hand. Absolutely. Some of the best realtors in the country, by the way, their database is their contact list in their phone.
Yeah.
Okay. That's completely out.
Of course.
But a younger person like we're talking about should probably definitely have some type of CRM, right? It needs to be going in there, or could it just be an Excel spreadsheet, or it doesn't even matter?
It could be. It doesn't matter.
Yellow legal pad.
It doesn't matter. Yeah. Write down everybody that you know.
Okay. So number 1, write down everybody that you know. Number 2, call them and tell them what you're doing. Number 3, use the terminology. Everybody listen. This is not some slick script. Use the terminology. It's huge. I would love to earn your business.
Yep. That's it.
Okay. What else besides that?
So you do.
By the way, if you do that, you're going to get busy. But besides that, what else?
It's that, and then somebody that you said younger, or somebody that just started in business.
They could be younger. They could be second career. It's these people, and you know these people.
Yeah.
They are sitting in the office like their head is swimming.
Yeah.
Their bills are piling up, and they're literally sitting there doing nothing. It's not that they're lazy. They just literally don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Now I got Yony in studio with me,
absolutely,
who's going to sell 80 houses this year.
Yeah.
Okay. Give him one more little pearl of wisdom.
Absolutely. So it's I talked about this before as well, but we have 6 legs of the business, right? Referrals is number 1, and however you do it. But it's making that contact first and foremost, and staying in touch. We do seminars. It doesn't matter if you figured it out. Like, it's not about figuring this out. You just act. Action is the best thing that you could do. Just act. It doesn't matter if you have anybody that's coming to your seminars or not. seminars. We do social media. Get on social media. It's the same thing. Social media has revolutionized marketing, right? There's somebody out there in your sphere on social media that needs to buy a house within a day or two.
Since you've been in here, there's probably 5 people in yours,
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely. And your job
since you've been sitting here,
I'm telling you, your job is to make sure those people know who you are and what you do. So if somebody makes a decision to buy and does because they don't know who you are, you can't blame them. Your job is to make sure they know who you are and what they do. And if they don't, usually that's another thing, but that's okay. That's okay. But your job is that. So I would say that list, and then social media, utilize everything that's in there, whether it be Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, YouTube. YouTube is a big thing. So I remember when I do videos, informational videos. The first video I did was an open house that I had nobody at. And I said, you know what? And when you start out too, people think it has to be perfect. These videos have to be perfect.
Yeah, I was just going to say, how did you do it?
On my phone, walking around.
You just flipped it around? I just
flipped it around. I was walking around, and some of my friends were hilarious because they said that I was walking around the house so much they got dizzy, right? But that's how I started. And now I know I do videos every month and about different subjects and whatnot, but those videos are a way to get your expertise up as well and to make sure that you can build your brand. But just start where you are and just consistently do it. And so that's something that I think a lot of people forget.
So that message right there as we wrap up, what a great message to end with. As we wrap up, so simple, but so hard for 99.8% of the people listening.
Success is not hard. It's simple. You just have to do it consistently.
Just do something. Anything is better than sitting there. So there's a lot of really good messaging all the way through this interview. There's actually some great stuff that you can take away immediately, in your market. You can, if you want to go down that first time home buyer route, which I'll be honest, if you're building your business, it's really one of the greatest ways to build your business, but you do have to be consistent. You have to have patience. So with that said, I see where the clock is. Yony, I want to thank you for coming in today. We really appreciate it. And that ends another episode of the Big Joel Show. Hope you got a lot of good nuggets today, and I'll see you again soon. Bye-bye. Thank you for listening to the Big Joel Show today. If you liked it, I would love it if you left a comment on iTunes. And if you want more information about me and what I do and my podcast, please go to bigjoel.com.